Which of these has 3 layers? A. Pin diode. B. Zener diode. C. Schottky diode. D. Photodiode. The correct answer is pin diode. As per Einstein's equation, the velocity of emitted electron in photoelectric emission is given by the equation A mv2 hfuw, B mv2 hfuw, C mv2 hfuw, D mv2 hfuw. The correct answer is mv2 hfuw. For NP-channel enhancement type MOSFET, determine the drain current if K 0.278 x 10⁻³ A V2 VGS 4 V VT2 V voltage equivalent at 27 C 26 MV. A 10 mA, B 1.11 mA, C 0.751 mA, D 46.98 mA. The correct answer is 1.11 mA. The skin depth of copper is found to be 66 mm at 1 MHz at a certain temperature. At the same temperature and at 2 MHz, the skin depth would be approximately A 47 m, B 33 m, C 92 m, D 1.22 m. The correct answer is 47 m. When P in junction is reverse biased, the holes in P material move towards the junction and electrons in N material move away from the junction. A true, B false, C, D. The correct answer is false. A semiconductor diode is biased in forward direction and carrying current I. The current due to holes in P material is A I, B 0. C less than I, D 0.5. The correct answer is less than I. Between which regions does BJT act like switch? A cutoff and saturation, B cutoff and forward active, C forward active and cutoff, D saturation and active. The correct answer is cutoff and saturation. Which of the following elements act as donor impurities? A 1, 2 and 3, B 1, 2, 4 and 6, C 3, 4, 5 and 6, D 2, 4 and 5. The correct answer is 2, 4 and 5. Light-dependent resistor is A photoresistive device, B photovoltaic device, C photoemissive device, D either or C. The correct answer is photoresistive device. The breakdown voltage in a zener diode. A is almost constant, B is very small, C may destroy the diode, D decreases with increase in current. The correct answer is almost constant. A Varactor diode is used for A tuning, B rectification, C amplification, D rectification and amplification. The correct answer is tuning. 1 EV 1.602 x 1019 joules. A true, B false, C, D. The correct answer is true. If IB is plate current, EB is plate voltage and EC is grid voltage, the VI curve of a vacuum triode is IB 0.003 EBKCN. Typical values of K and N are A 0.5 and 1, B 2 and 1, C 30 and 1, D 30 and 1.5. The correct answer is 30 and 1.5. In which material do conduction and valence bands overlap? A. Insulators, B. Conductors, C. Both conductor and semiconductor, D. Semiconductors. The correct answer is conductors. For a photoconductor with equal electron and hole mobilities and perfect ohmic contacts at the ends, an increase in illumination results in A change in OC voltage, B. a change in SC current, C. a decrease in resistance, D. an increase in resistance. The correct answer is a decrease in resistance. Discrete transistors T1 and T2 having maximum collector current rating of 0.75 amp are connected in parallel as shown in the figure. This combination is treated as a single transistor to carry a total current of 1 ampere when biased with self-bias circuit. When the circuit is switched on, T1 draws 0.55 amps and T2 draws 0.45 amps. If the supply is kept on continuously, ultimately it is very likely that A. Both T1 and T2 get damaged. B. Both T1 and T2 will be safe. C. T1 will get damaged and T2 will be safe. D. T2 will get damaged and T1 will be safe. The correct answer is T1 will get damaged and T2 will be safe. The number of p-n junctions in a semiconductor diode are A0, B1, C2, D1 or 2. The correct answer is 1. When a diode is not conducting, its bias is A forward, B0, C reverse, D0 or reverse. The correct answer is 0 or reverse. The SCR would be turned off by voltage reversal of applied anode-cathode AC supply of frequency of A 30 kHz, B 15 kHz, C 5 kHz, D 20 kHz. The correct answer is 5 kHz. The number of valence electrons in a donor atom is A2, B3, C4, D5. The correct answer is 5. An electron rises through a voltage of 100 V. The energy acquired by it will be A 100 eV, B 100 joules, C 101.2 eV, D 101.2 joules. The correct answer is 100 eV. Measurement of Hall coefficient enables the determination of A. Mobility of charge carriers, B. Type of conductivity and concentration of charge carriers, C. Temperature coefficient and concentration of charge carriers, D. Fermi level and forbidden energy gap. The correct answer is type of conductivity and concentration of charge carriers. A Varactor diode has A fixed capacitance, B. a fixed inductance, C. a voltage variable capacitance, D. a current variable inductance. The correct answer is a voltage variable capacitance. The most important set of specifications of transformer oil includes A. dielectric strength and viscosity, B. dielectric strength and flash point, C. flash point and viscosity, D. dielectric strength, flash point and viscosity. The correct answer is dielectric strength, flash point and viscosity. A voltage of 9 V is applied in forward direction to a semiconductor diode in series with a load resistance of 1000. The voltage across the load resistance is 0. It indicates that A. diode is short-circuited, B. diode is open-circuited, C. resistor is open-circuited, D. diode is either O.C or S.C. The correct answer is diode is open-circuited. If the drift velocity of holes under a field gradient of 100 Vm in 5 ms, their mobility in SI units is A 0.05, B 0.5, C 50, D 500. The correct answer is 0.05. The derating factor for a BJT transistor is about A 0.5 MW C, B 2.5 MW C, C 10 MW C, D 25 MW C. The correct answer is 2.5 MW C. An intrinsic silicon sample has 2 million free electrons. The number of holes in the sample is A 2 million, B almost 0, C more than 2 million. D less than 2 million. The correct answer is 2 million. In an N-type semiconductor, A number of free electrons and holes are equal. B number of free electrons is much greater than the number of holes. C number of free electrons may be equal or less than the number of holes. D number of holes is greater than the number of free electrons. The correct answer is number of free electrons is much greater than the number of holes. Mobility of electrons and holes are equal. A true. B false. C. D. The correct answer is false. Electrons can be emitted from a metal surface due to high electric field. A true. B false. C. D. The correct answer is true. In an N-type semiconductor, the Fermi level is 0.35 eV below the conduction band. The concentration of donor atoms is increased to 3 times. The new position of Fermi level will be A 0.35 eV below conduction band, B about 0.32 eV below conduction band, C about 0.32 eV above conduction band, D about 0.1 eV below conduction band. The correct answer is about 0.32 eV below conduction band. SCR can be turned on by A 1 2 4 only, B 4 only, C 1 2 3 4, D none. The correct answer is 1 2 3 4. In a bipolar transistor, a recombination in base regions of both NPN and PNP transistor is low. B recombination in base regions of both NPN and PNP transistors is high. C recombination in base region of NPN transistor is low but that in PNP transistor is high. D recombination in base region of PNP transistor is low but that in NPN transistor is high. The correct answer is recombination in base regions of both NPN and PNP transistor is low. If for a silicon NPN transistor the base to emitter voltage VB is 0.7 V and the collector to base voltage VCB is 0.2 volt, then the transistor is operating in the A normal active mode, B saturation mode, C inverse active mode, D cutoff mode. The correct answer is normal active mode. The number of doped regions in a bipolar junction transistor is A1, B2, C3, D4. The correct answer is 3. Donor energy level is N-type semiconductor is very near valence band. A true, B false, C, D. The correct answer is false. GaAs has an energy gap 1.43 eV. The optical cutoff wavelength of GaAs would lie in the A visible region of the spectrum, B infrared region of the spectrum, C ultraviolet region of the spectrum, D for ultraviolet region of the spectrum. The correct answer is infrared region of the spectrum. Which of the following is basically a voltage-controlled capacitance? A zener diode, B diode, C Varactor diode, D lead. The correct answer is Varactor diode. When the IV curve of a photodiode passes through origin, the illumination is A maximum, B minimum, C 0, D equal to rated value. The correct answer is 0. An N-type silicon bar 0.1 centimeters long and 100 m2 in cross-sectional area has a majority carrier concentration of 5x1020 m3 and the carrier mobility is 0.13 m0 vs at 300 K. If the charge of an electron is 1.6 x 1019 coulomb, then the resistance of the bar is A 10 6 ohm, B 10 4 ohm, C 10 1 ohm. D 10 4 ohm. The correct answer is 10 1 ohm. The threshold voltage of a MOSFET can be lowered by A3 alone is correct. B1 and 2 are correct. C1 and 3 are correct. D2 alone is correct. The correct answer is 1 and 3 are correct. In which device does the extent of light controls the conduction? A. Photovoltaic cell. B. Photoelectric relay. C. LED. D. Photosensitive device. The correct answer is photosensitive device.